So if you feel chained to your desk, and I'm not talking about like when you really want to be there, I'm talking about things that's keeping you at your desk, even though in your heart you want to be somewhere else doing something else. And you just can't get away from the admin. You just can't get away from the queries. You just can't get away from preparing, all the good stuff except spending time with your clients. Well, today I'm going to get into how technology can help you break those chains and get away from your desk and spend time with clients. So really looking forward to sharing a lot of tips with you today. Not only tips, but really strategies and sort of things to think about, and to show you how technology can help you build the financial planning business of your dreams and where you still have your freedom, because isn't that why we got into business in the first place? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back. Season 4, episode 4. Can you believe it? Already 4 episodes in. First month done and dusted. February, thank you very much, even though you're a little short one. Ladies and gents, welcome to the show. I'm excited for today's, I'm always excited and I'm thrilled, and I'm like, I don't know, I need to come up with more adjectives. You need to maybe in the comments give me some adjectives I can use to express my excitement and my energy and just my absolute gratefulness for being able to do this, and for you for being here. So thank you very much for joining us live. If you're watching the recording, a warm welcome to you as well, and thank you for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. Today we have Lelani doing current affairs. Lelani Bezuidenhout. She's no new face to anyone here, I hope, but she will be the one doing current affairs, sponsored and basically hosted by the Financial Planning Institute. My words are escaping me this morning. And then we have Norma, and Norma's going to do something a little bit different in her segment today. So I'm looking forward to that one. We are going to be talking about something I will share with you just before that. And then I've got some quick announcements, and then we get into today's topic, which is all about how technology can help you build that business that doesn't take away your freedom. So I'm looking forward to that. As you know, I have a massive passion for business. I have a massive passion for technology, and then freedom is my highest value. And I've been exploring a lot in my business of how to gain back and claw back my freedom, because I let it go, right? I also put both feet in that trap. So that's where we are. Right, before we get going, and of course, today there is going to be another coffee giveaway. I will give you the hashtag during the quick announcements, and you have to be here at the end in order to get that, and you have to join us live if you want to win, obviously. So today there's a new hashtag, and once I've given that to you, please use that in the comments, and anything that you can just post a hashtag, or you can post a hashtag in a question that you ask, or an opinion that you share, or anything like that. So please do that. Righty, so quickly, let me say a warm good morning to all you lovely propulsioneers. Thank you, Mark, for trademarking that one. Quibus was in first this morning. Terence, sorry. Quibus, you were in third today. Third place. Terence, good morning, my friend. Happy Friday. Mark, all the way from you know where. Happy. Good morning. Quibus, good morning. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Almost said hi to Propulsion. Then we've got Elmin. Good morning. Warm welcome. Nice to see you again. And hope things are going well where you are. Harry, same there with you. So I hope that you are doing fantastically well. Marcel, good morning. Awesome. Nice to see you. People are having a conversation. We have Heloise. Good morning. Nice to see you. Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from the other side of the Boerewors Gordyn, which is Pretoria. Adrian Jordan, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Mel, also from you know where. We don't mention that place's name anymore, and you know, it's just joking. Good morning. Frank, good morning. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Rufaru, awesome to see you as well. Thank you very much. Awesome. Ferdi, good morning. All the way from the middle of the country. Good morning. So nice to see you. Sorry that I'm looking down. It's just like, obviously power is still off, so I can't see on my screens here next to the camera. Des, good morning. Awesome stuff. Nice to see you. Good morning, Charmaine. Nice to see you as well. We have Juanita, we have Philip, and we have Nikki. Nikki, I'm pretty sure you're not watching from your bed this morning. I'm pretty sure, and my friend Vainant sneaking in there at the end. Looking forward to a little braai on the weekend. Alrighty, ladies and gents, that's taken a lot of time. Thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate the fact that you're here live. If you get value from this video, please remember to hit that like button. It does help us quite a lot. But let's get the show going and just share with you what's on the agenda today. So first off, Lelani, Current Affairs, Financial Planning Institute. Here we go.
Yes, good morning, Francois and team. And I really like the theme that you have for today. And the first song, I think in songs and animation that popped into my mind this morning regarding your theme is Unchain My Heart. So I can't wait to actually listen to you this morning, Francois. Thank you so much. Now, let's quickly go into the current affairs. Now, the Rand continues to slip as the grey listing is looming. And I must tell you, when I listened to the budget speech on the 22nd of February, the minister, according to me, was a bit blasé to say, you know what, if grey listing hits us, we'll continue to do what we do. So I'm not sure what that means. But from my side, I do know they are continuing to focus on the recommendations that came through in the FATF report to make sure or try that we at least not grey listed. But unfortunately, as we know, Francois, grey listing is looming and we can see the impact on the rand. So talk about the budget speech. I'm going to quickly run through some of the highlights. By now, most of you online most probably know some of the highlights, but if you missed the budget speech or if you missed the FPI session that we had yesterday with Ronald King and Ronald Matande, you would have seen from Ronald King's presentation, he was quite funny. He said there is no changes, and he said we should count the people on the screen just to keep us busy for an hour. But be as it may, there was some changes. Personal income tax tables was adjusted with the expected inflation rate of 4.9%. And then also the medical tax credit. So this is the normal run-of-the-mill that we see every year. Tax credits will increase from 347 Rand to 364 Rand per month for the first two members, and then 234 and 246 per month for additional members. You'll see in the budget speech that they did include the tax tables for you, so have a look. Transfer duty, the brackets for transfer duty will be adjusted upwards by 10%. This means that properties up to the value of 1.1 million will be free of transfer duty. So again, those tables are included. Then the retirement tax tables, you'll see that there was a change there as well, an upwards adjustment of 10% as well. So you'll see that if you look at the retirement lump sum table, that the first 550,000 is tax-free. And then if you look at the lump sum withdrawals, that is 27,500 Rand. The two-part system will take effect 1 March 2024. So there's been a lot of questions in terms of how will that taxation then actually work. So if you look at that date, permissible withdrawals, so the allowable withdrawals from the savings pot before retirement, which is really not advisable in any event, after this date, being the 1st of March 2024, will be taxed at your marginal tax rate as part of the annual income of the member. That's important. And then on retirement, any remaining amounts in the savings pot will be taxed according to obviously the retirement fund lump sum. Now, part of the budget speech that we must always remember, it's not just about the changes coming, it is also about the regulations that will be changed because of what's going to happen due to the tax changes. So let's look at some of the areas that's still of big concern that will be addressed in future legislation when we look at the potting system. We need a proposed for seed capital, how we're going to work with that. Legislative mechanisms to include defined benefit funds. That has always been a question. How will we deal with defined benefit funds? And then also the legacy retirement annuity funds. How will the pot system work when we look at that? And then also withdrawals from the retirement option in case of retirement with no alternative source of income. How will that work? Then you'll see in the budget speech, annexes C and E was quite important. The other annexes, of course, also important. But if you want to know what's going to come in the financial services sector and what is important for you as a financial advisor, have a squiz at Annexure C. So Annexure C of the budget speech then also tells us future amendments that will come through. And this is important for you to understand how will it impact on your business. So tax-free investment contribution limits on an annual basis on the deduction of retirement contributions to be apportioned when an individual ceases to be a tax resident. And there will also be some amendments to clarify the legislation and anti-avoidance rules for low interest and interest-free loans to trusts. This has been a contentious issue for some time, so we'll see some changes coming through there. Then also clarifying the amount of employer contributions to a retirement fund, what is supposed to be deductible. And there's also amendments to ensure that all involuntary transfers from less restrictive to more restrictive retirement funds by members who are 55 years or older will be tax neutral. And alignment of tax treatment of capital gains tax to non-resident beneficiaries of trusts with the current treatment of income attributed to non-beneficiaries in terms of Section 25B of the 8th schedule. That is an absolute mouthful. So that is the one thing that we can look forward to with regards to Annexure C. Now, if you go into Annexure E, this is where they focus on the financial services sector specifically. So what are we going to see that's going to come through that you should take a note of and sit up straight? So research on broadening the tax base, specifically as it pertains to allowances. A discussion document will be released to outline the workplace practice and policies, changes in the current environment, and how different workplaces are affected by home office and travel allowances work. So that's also an issue that we are looking at FBI as well for our own staff. But if we then continue, the position paper by the Intergovernmental FinTech Group on risks posed by the so-called stable coins. We'll see a paper come out there. Policy proposals by National Treasury on the retirement reform will come out, and how to expand the participation of formal and informal workers without excessively burdening their disposable income. Legislative amendments to improve the governance of retirement funds, particularly commercial umbrella funds. We'll see that come through. It's part of the FATF recommendations as well. Then quite a big one. You will see this is actually codified in Annexure E of the budget speech. COFI is coming. So COFI, which is the Conduct of Financial Institutions Bill, is expected to be tabled early in Parliament. Now, like Ronald King said yesterday, what does early mean? It could be November 2023 for government, but we are hoping 1st of April 2023, the COFI will be tabled. And then what is important is what will follow after that. Then also National Treasury will publish a consumer education policy for comment early in 2023. And that's just a review of the current consumer financial education that they have. And then the last one, the two authorities, meaning the Conduct Authority and Prudential Authority, will finalize joint standards on bettering the IT governance environment that we have. So what is important from the budget speech is not just the changes that we normally see that comes through in the tax tables, but the future legislative changes. And from my side, I am sure we will be grey listed, which is unfortunate. The minister sort of actually confirmed it in his speech. And then just very quickly in closing, Francia, just a reminder to the members online, if you missed annual refresher, please register for the online annual refresher that will take place the 15th of March. And then also the convention, FPI convention this year, save the date, it is 14 and 15 November at the Sandton Convention Center. And then in closing, 2 fun facts for today. And please don't do this while you can. Your camera is off. People won't know that you're doing it. It is impossible for people to lick their elbows. I'll try that. I'm not sure if I can. It's impossible for you to lick your elbows. And what I didn't know is a crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. So on that note, Francia, back to you in the studio. Blessings.
Yeah, I can just imagine a crocodile sticking its tongue out just before it eats you. Yeah, that'll be absolutely amazing and funny and all of it, all at the same time. Thank you very much, Leilani, for that quick update. And then next up, Coach's Corner, special edition, I would say, with Norma. And let's head on over and hear what she's got for us today.
Good morning. Welcome to this little bit of a different segment today. So it's going to take some participation from your side. So once I get into the topic, you guys can maybe start participating by putting your comments into the comment section there. And then me and Francois would, to go through those questions and see how we can discuss. And from our side, maybe give you some insights or what's been working for us, and also obviously your struggles, what we can all as a community contribute towards that. So today's topic is what is the real struggles of people in as a financial professional? And not necessarily only financial professionals, but all of us, doesn't matter the industry we're in. What is our struggles in business, and also what's our struggles in life? Because if we have struggles in life, we tend to take it to our businesses as well. So you can maybe start by putting your comments into the comment section. Those of you who feel comfortable sharing and who are brave, tell us your struggles that you have either in your businesses or in life that really impacts the other areas of life. So start by doing that. So while you're doing that, I just want to continue and give you a little bit more about this topic, and also maybe some of my struggles. So I think to start off with, we are all built for greatness. And through conditioning, through living life and experiences, we tend to lose a little bit of that greatness. And I think for me, always it's getting back to that person that we were created to be. It's not changing or trying to be someone else. It's coming back to that person that we are. So I want you to, just obviously think about your struggles and how we can now address it in the session. So something that I've really been struggling with as a business owner is comparing. Because I'm always looking at my mentors and teachers, and although I love looking at them because they are such an example of what is possible for me, they give me hope in times where I maybe don't feel that confident. I sometimes use that against myself. So I would see where they are, and they've been most probably in business 10, 20 plus years. And I want to make that mean that I should also be there. And that is something that I need to notice on a regular basis and check in with myself. And it's almost like bring myself back to reality, to the present of where I am, and that I should focus on where I am right now. So Francois, let me bring you into the picture as well. So just tell us a little bit about your struggles maybe. What do you find is those big things that you struggle with in business and maybe in life?
I think, and I'm looking at some of the comments, we have some brave people today. So a lot of things that are coming up for them, by the way, is time management, those kind of things, finding the right help. Mark is saying struggling to stay focused and motivated. And all of those resonate with me. And then Harry, I think Harry hits my thing on the head there that I wanted to share now. One of my biggest struggles is doing too much. So it's the fact that, I commit to so many things. There's so many things that I do. And somebody in the audience actually sent me a message when I announced we're going to restart the podcast, not relaunch, but it starts again because we've had it every single year since 2019. And he said to me that, you love to make work for yourself. So there is madness behind that. There is strategy behind the madness and all of it. But, I think for me, I struggle a lot with saying no. Even though I know I should be saying no. So that's the one thing. And then coupled with that, and most people will probably not believe me because what you see is not necessarily what's going on inside here. But, there is also a lot of doubt always around whether, can I deliver this? Will it be as valuable as I think it is? So you doubt yourself. You doubt the value, you doubt, and then I don't know how to it sort of keeps you from taking action a lot of the time as well, or it takes you at the very least a long time to take the action that you need to do. So I think those are the things that I probably struggle with the most over the last few years, and there's still some of those things that I still battle with at the moment. So yeah, it's a tough world out there.
What I want to touch on, especially with the first one where you're talking about you can't say no. So that saying no to people is really the action. So if we go back into that formula that I always talk about, is that we first think, then we have an emotion or feeling, and then we act from that. So that action that you're talking about is really the saying no. So what is like coming up for you before you say the no? So is it like something like, for instance, I need to make sure that this person likes me, or maybe saying yeah or saying no to this person? I feel maybe I feel desperate now. I think I need to say no to this person. The other one that I want to touch on is what was the other one you were talking about? What did you say? No, and what was the other one? Saying no and doubt. Also, the doubt again comes from us, I think, feeling that from our thinking. So if we think a certain thing, then it's going to bring us doubt. There's a lot of celebrities that talks about this doubt, and I used to think in my, it's not like I don't have it right now, but if I think in my younger years how much doubt I had in my life, and I think we're always making that doubt wrong. And be cognizant of the fact that we all have doubt. We all are, doing new things. We're setting goals. We're setting challenges for ourselves. So that doubt is it's like part of our lives, but we need to make sure that we don't use it against ourselves. If that doubt comes up, it's like we have to reassure ourselves that we actually know what we're doing. We're going to figure it out. Because if that doubt comes up for us and we are in that sort of a negative spin where it's like, yeah, this is evidence. You see, I can't do it, or I don't have the right qualification or the right clients or the right know-how, then we're going to stop. It's almost like we're fueling that doubt. So maybe some more of the comments that's been coming in.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm just sitting here reading them, and people are very much focused on the in the business kind of stuff. So not so much about things that they are personally struggling with. It's more things that are actually in the business. Like Philip is saying, external distractions can easily move the focus away. Where was that? Charmaine said not being able to work on my business due to having to work in the business. So it goes back to the time management and those kind of things. And then Charmaine also just added fear of venturing out of the comfort zone. I think that is a big one. And then, so Elmine says she attended a session this week discussing burnout, stress, time management, and the suggestion was to rather manage our energy than time. Say no to things that drain your energy. And that is so. I think what a lot of us struggle with in that, and that's 100%, that's the strategy, right? And it's also how you say no. But if I can sort of look at it from my point of view, saying like, I think it's that I don't want to disappoint people, or that I don't want people to think that I've become too busy or too important or too successful or any of those things to be able to help them, because helping is such an important value of mine. And then you couple that with responsibility and all of those good things, and suddenly, you go into this sort of spiral. But to manage your energy, as Almin says there, like, I think that's genuinely the answer. It's just how people perceive you from that I think we get. And then that's maybe the comparison thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, I also think a lot of those things that were mentioned is all those circumstances things. So that circumstance is not necessarily the problem, it's the way that we perceive it. So if I remember the one, she's saying that she has to work in her business. I think what is the problem with working in your business? I think if we can be a little more specific, what specifically do you mean when you say I need to work in my business? Because that's going to trigger maybe a thought for you, something like I should be focusing on more important things. I should be focusing getting clients or getting leads or whatever the case is. I think it is, if we break down our problems or circumstances that we think is in our way, and we get real clear on that, take, like you were talking earlier about all the adjectives, if we take all the adjectives away and we make it a clear circumstance, I work in business, this is all the things I do. Okay, so what do I think about that? And then from the thinking, that's going to create a feeling for you. So if I think it's something wrong that I need to work in my business, I need to be more high level, for instance, then obviously that is going to create something for you that is not going to fuel you to drive you forward. So I think, thank you all for participating and for all your comments, for your participation. Maybe you can go after the show and just, tell us if this segment is something that you want to, this sort of discussion we had today, is if this is something that you would want to see more often. So thank you for being here today, and I'll be back next week.
Thank you very much, Norma. That was a great experience. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so the power is back on. Let's get into some quick announcements. Alrighty, and now I can stand up and be my all energetic self. Thank you very much, Terence. Elated. I will remember that one. That's a great one. So if you have more suggestions, please do share them. Righty, so what have I got for you today? Well, of course, PROpulsion Tech is happening the week after next week. So it's only a couple of days, a little bit more than a week. If you haven't got your tickets yet, then please join. We are close to about 400 people who's got their tickets. So I'm really excited. Thank you very much to every single person who got a ticket. I really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to a fantastic, fantastic event. And I'm going to stop selling the event because everything's on the website. It's giving you 13.5 CPD points. It's being recorded. You can go and watch it over time for the next year if you want to still get your points. But there's a lot of value there, and it's all about technology for you and your financial planning practice. It's going to raise the bar in your business. I can guarantee you that. So go and get your ticket today. It's propulsion.co.za /propulsion-tech. It's down in the description. So easy to find. Go get your ticket for $400, 13.5 CPD points, new business, getting your life back, all that good stuff. There's amazing things we're doing at that event. So please go and get your ticket. Propulsion Pro members, remember you've got a special code. You don't pay for your tickets because you're members. So it's included in your membership. So don't purchase a ticket unless you feel you want to do that. But you do get a ticket. All right. Next one is, I can't remember what the next one is. Yes, the podcast. I mentioned the podcast earlier. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit what the difference is between Propulsion Live and the Propulsion podcast, right? So Propulsion Live, I talk about a show. And when I talk about the show, I mean what you're seeing on screen. It's video, it's on YouTube, it's live and recorded. So it's obviously a recording, but it's first live and then that's being recorded and still available afterwards. So a lot of people refer to Propulsion Live as the podcast. It's not. When we talk about a podcast, it's typically audio only, right? So you get it on a podcasting app somewhere. So there's also video podcasts, which is basically, I guess, what Propulsion Live is, but that's available only on YouTube and nowhere else. So the podcast is available everywhere, on Apple, on Spotify, on Google, on Stitcher. You can go and look for us. We are literally everywhere. That podcast we started way back in 2019, and that podcast was originally called Propulsion, and that's where the whole brand and the name and everything came from, where we eventually aligned the entire business with Propulsion. So that's going to launch on Monday. We're going to release an episode every single day for that first week, and then it'll be weekly. And I'm going to start off with a series of interviews that I did with the ladies at Lean In Circles vision board session. And they're all like a short, no longer than 15 minutes each. And some incredible conversations. So this year, the podcast will offer you something different from the show. So it won't be the same people. It won't be the same conversations, because the last 2 years, we took the audio from the live show, the main segment, and we published it on the podcast as well. This year, total different, different conversations, different focus, different everything. So do go check it out. You can find it everywhere. You just go search for Propulsion and you will see my lovely face somewhere. And you can go and subscribe or follow the podcast there. So do enjoy. We've got a brand new intro, brand new music, brand new everything for that podcast. So it's quite cool, I think. Anyway, my humble opinion. Then lastly, yesterday I presented a session on the budget, right, in detail. It was an hour session. It was for somebody that asked me to do it for them. And I did record that session, and it's made available on our CPD online platform. So all the Propulsion Pro members, you already have access to all of this. So you can go and watch it there and get your CPD, 1 CPD point, technical, verifiable, and all of it. So you can get it there. If you're not a member, you can purchase access to that. Everything is on the website. So it's learn.propulsion.co.za. Just learn.propulsion.co.za. That's the online CPD portal that we have. All our other stuff is on there. So you can purchase access. But Propulsion Pro members, you get access to everything, every single thing. So it's amazing, right? Cool beans. So on that note, I guess I'm ready for today's main segment. Let's do it. Alrighty. So see, I'm looking for things this morning. I'm definitely not on my game with the power that was off, so I apologize profusely. I'm very excited. I've got a flippin' good friend coming to visit today from the UK who's here in South Africa, and he's visiting me here. He's probably here already, I think, maybe, or very close to. So Hiran, so those of you that know Hiran will be visiting me shortly. So really looking forward to that. But before, I've got some great things that I need to share with you. Now, as you know, the theme for this season is freedom. And whether I'm going to be interviewing people or whether I'm going to be talking about things like the first 4 episodes, it's very important that you know. Oh, the one thing that I didn't do, by the way, is I didn't give you the hashtag, did I? No, Francois, I need to give you the hashtag. Let me put it on the screen while I'm talking. Hashtag coffee me up. There you go. So let me show that. I don't know how I missed that on the screen. I'm sorry. Anyway, so hashtag coffee me up if you want to win a personalized bag of coffee from Colombo Coffee, our official coffee sponsor for this show. I'm so sorry. Oh, my word. What a day. Anyway, let's get into this. So freedom is very important. It's very important to me. It's very important to many of you. In many of the conversations that I've had, and many, I'm telling you, many, almost every conversation, it comes out that people feel imprisoned in their business. They started this business. They left a place where they weren't happy. They had this vision. They had this dream of how they wanted to do this. And now they find themselves in a position where all they do is work, but not because they want to necessarily, because there is a big difference between if you want to work, right, or if you have to work. And I'm not saying have to work in the sense of just always for money, but I have to work because I have got all this admin to do. I've got all this information to process. I've got all this analysis to do, all this preparation to do. I've got these things to learn. I've got like compliance to do. I've got, yeah, but wasn't I supposed to see clients as well? Isn't that why I really got into this business? Isn't that why I really left where I was? So I can do things on my terms, the way that I want to do it. And that's very important because that's what it is all about for me. Now, I love what I do, but I don't love everything I do, to be honest. There's things that I have to do that I really don't like. And those are the things that I'm now trying to get rid of. And there's 2 ways to get rid of them. Well, 3 ways, I guess, 4 ways, maybe, to get rid of them. The one is to delegate it to somebody in your team and to appoint a team and create a team, to outsource it, right? To stop doing it or to automate it. Like those are the 4 things I would say that we need in order to not be doing those things. So that's what today is really all about. And I want to focus a little bit on technology. You know that I have a massive love for technology. Technology is one of our values in the business. So we absolutely say that we embrace technology and we try and test technology and we use technology to its fullest capability in our business. I can't tell you the difference. I can't tell you the difference that has made in my business. The amount of processes that we've been able to automate Initially just a little bit, and then a little bit more, because we learn as we go along, and then a little bit more, to a point where we're now that when we do anything, like we don't do anything, right? So it's amazing to see how these things just flow and they just happen. There's still a lot of prep, and it often does take us a lot of time to put these things together and to design and implement them. But once it's in, and I said this, I think somewhere in a conversation with Mickey Gambale, I think it was last year, I said that, it was in one of my talks, I can't remember. But one of the things that I said was that, technology can give you back a lot of time, but you first need to invest a lot of time in order to get that back exponentially. So technology is the thing that you definitely want to think about in your business. There's no more thing today, and I get very excited about this, right? And not in a good way. It gets to me when people tell me like, I'm not, technology is not for me. I'm before computers. Like nonsense. It's the story you tell yourself. If you've ever learned anything, if you use a phone, you drive a car, you use your stove, you use a microwave, those are all technologies. You use the remote to change the TV channel. Don't tell me that you are before computers. That's absolute nonsense. So that is the one thing that you need to let go of today if you are still there. And I'm sorry that I can't have this conversation with you face to face, because I would love to do that. It's absolutely critical that you embrace technology. Now, this doesn't mean that technology is going to replace you. It doesn't mean that it's going to do anything like that. But what technology will do is it will make you far more efficient than what you can ever be. On Tuesday, I presented a session to Propulsion Pro members on artificial intelligence. And I opened up with a clip by where Steve Jobs was talking about a research that was done many years ago, many years ago, where they tested the efficiency of different mammals and humans and to see where everybody pitches, etc. From an energy expansion point of view. The condor one, right? Condor is that massive bird, was the most efficient to go from point A to point B. Humans were like a long way down on the list, which isn't good, like, because we're at the top of the pyramid. Like we're the guys, we're the girls, like we run everything, we know everything. But yet we are actually not so great going from point A to point B. But then what they did is they also tested a human using a bicycle to go from point A to point B, and it smashed the condor off the list. And why did that happen? Because we as humans have the ability to design tools, but not only design these things, to use them to make ourselves exponentially better than what we could be if we didn't have those tools. And that is why we are where we are. I mean, I often drive around and think about who thought about, like, we're going to build cars, we're going to build roads, we're going to have this infrastructure. Like, we're the only species doing that. So, like, if you just think about those things for a little bit, it's really crazy to think that you would not want to use technology as such a tool. Use it as a bicycle. When you want to loosen a tight bolt, you don't go like, oh, I don't have the ability. It's like, where's that wrench? And you take the wrench and you loosen the bolt, and there you go. If you have to screw something or drill something into the wall, it's not like, oh, my finger isn't doing it for me. It's like, where's the drill bit? Let me drill a hole. And there we go. It's done. Unless I do it, it's a bit skewed, and it doesn't, not so fantastic. But I guess you can hear from my voice that I'm so passionate about this, because technology is the biggest tool that you and I have to take our businesses to the next level, to compete at the highest level, and to take what is rightfully ours when we do the work in the right way for the right reason. But we decide that we are not technology people. We're not there before computers. We can't do this, we can't do that. I don't care your age. Like, let me tell you that as well. It does not matter. Will it be hard to learn it? Yes. Will it be worth learning it? More than you will ever know. All right. So enough of that little bit of preaching from me. But there are great benefits by using technology. One of them is that you can really streamline your processes. You can really make things easy. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, right? But there's stuff that we can help you with very soon. But there's things that you need to do to get you ready. And if you come to PROpulsion Tech, you will hear exactly what those will be. Because we have a whole panel discussion of 40 minutes just on the stuff that you need to look at, that you have to have in place before you start looking at what you can automate, etc. The other important thing with technology is that it gives you not just access to, but also the ability to organize data, and data is so, so important. You know, for too long, we've been dealing with clients' information as I at least need their email address, when we still used to send mail, their postal address and their physical address and their telephone number so that I can call them. So if I have those things, I don't really care about the other things, because why? But you have no idea on the amount of information and things that you can analyze and see from that data, not just when you look at an individual client, but when you look at your entire client base as a whole. So important. So technology makes it possible, because for you having, if you look at the thumbnail for this particular episode, that oak sitting with the files, those files ain't telling you nothing. It only helps the ombudsman, and hopefully for you when there's a complaint. But otherwise, those files mean nothing. But when you put it into a system where we can analyze the data, group the data, then suddenly you can find stories about your business, and it suddenly things that you just can't make a decision around becomes so much easier to make a decision on. But the important thing is that the data. Remember back in season 1, for those of you that's been around that long, right? Season 1, there was three episodes I did with Rob Pritchard from Iris, and the other guy's going to hit me over the head. I forgot his name now. But the other guy from Iris, we had a discussion on the importance of data for 3 episodes. 3 episodes. We had a discussion on data and why it's important, and how do you make sure you get the right data? How do you make sure it's clean? How do you make sure it's maintained? We discussed all of that. But without technology, one, you're not going to have that, and secondly, it's not going to work for you, right? So very, very important. The other thing that technology does bring to your business and to the table is obviously flexibility and mobility. So it means that if you have the right technology, you can build remote teams. And I'm going to have a whole episode just on building remote teams. But you can have a team that doesn't have to sit next to you all the time. Okay, so they might do some of the time, so that's great. Other times, they don't have to, right? So it makes that possible. It makes it possible for you that when you're traveling, you can still work when you have to. You can still meet with someone when you have to. You can literally do what Kobus is doing and decide, like, I'm going to literally work from anywhere. I'm going to work from the universe. That's about what Kobus is doing at the moment. It's not for everybody, right? But it's possible. If that is something that's important to you, they say, you can't mix work and pleasure. I think you can. All right. So definitely without technology, that won't be possible. So those are some of the benefits of technology. But how do you decide on the right tools and the right software and all those kind of things? Now, also, there's an entire panel discussion on this topic as well, where we start from when you become aware of the fact that you need technology all the way through to adoption. So there will be a whole panel discussion on that as well. But I just want to give you a feel of my own personal sort of viewpoints around this. Now, there's different technologies that you use for different things. And the one thing I typically want to talk about, I think, is 2 things, right? So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but the 2 things that I do want to talk about is integration, and secondly, cost, right? So integration, I've said to quite a few people in the last little bit, because the more I work with these things, the more I get to understand that you're not really integrating systems. That's not the thing. So this whole talk about get a tech stack and then integrate them, let them talk to each other. It's fantastic. It is. That's part of integration. But if you think about it, it is still 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 different systems, right? The challenge is not sort of using the 5 or the 10 systems. The challenge is getting the data to integrate. So for me, it's more an integration of data into the systems. And maybe some people will tell me, well, Francois, that's the same thing. I don't quite see it that way, because when the focus is the systems, you integrate in one way. When the focus is the data, you integrate in another way. So it's about making the data, wherever it originates from, flow into all the systems instead of having to rekey these things all the time. So you put it into AdWork, you put it into Beeswax, you put it into your spreadsheet, you put it in a folder on OneDrive, whatever it is that you're doing, there's a couple of steps, and every time I have to repeat just to make sure it's everywhere I want it. So integration and thinking about this is quite important. Now, with that goes your processes and automation, obviously. So it is very important that you think about your processes and that you have your processes documented. And please don't think each process needs to be a document like that. It doesn't have to be. There is a way that you can really make it simple and do these things properly. And I will share some templates at some stage that you can use just to document your processes efficiently and easily and make it available to everybody. But once you've got that, then it becomes easy to see which parts of those can we in fact automate. And then it's just a matter of getting it automated. And if I say automated, it's really like, how do I get the data and what do I do with the data after that without getting a human involved? That's really what I'm talking about. So that's very, very important. The other aspect here is the cost, but I don't see this as a cost. Those of you that know me know that I say it's not a cost. When you have the right technology and you use it, it's an investment. It's a massive investment. Why? Because it'll make you money. It makes you money. That's it. If technology doesn't make you money, why do you have it? Right? Then it immediately becomes a cost. So don't do that. And if you have something and you don't get anything out of it, you also need to ask the question, how much time have you spent learning it? How much time have you spent getting to know it? How much time have you spent trying to break it? How much time have you spent thinking about how you can use that in your business? How can you adapt your processes to make better use of this technology? Mickey again said in his conversation at the end of last year that you shouldn't be building processes and then try and digitize. You should start with the technology and then build processes from there. So know what the technology can do so that you can build better processes. But you still have to start with the process. Very important. Right. Then strategies for automating some processes. Now, these are very important. I've spoken about this in some of the CPD sessions we do, some talks that I've done around technology and automation specifically. But the easiest place to start, and a lot of people, it's interesting, when you talk to them, and I laugh just because I do exactly the same thing. I'm actually laughing at myself. You think about automation, for the layman out there, automation, the easiest way to do that is to create templates, right? So that's what we do. We have these massive amounts of templates, like a letter for this and an email for that and a form for this. But it takes us still a lot of time to just go and look for that template, copy it, paste it to wherever I want to use it. And it still takes time. And I say in this one session that I do, you cannot underestimate a minute. If you think, it only takes me a minute. It only takes me a minute. Yeah, it's fine. But you think about repetitive tasks. How long does it take me to do that? How many times do I do those? So now it's a minute. I do it 10 times a day. That's 10 minutes. 5 days a week. That's 50 minutes. Right? For 4 weeks. What's that? 200 minutes. So it's over 3 hours. Right? So, and then you go times 12 for the year. Goes almost 40 hours. So you get to 36 hours or something. Probably closer to 40 hours. That's a whole work week gone just by going and finding a template, copying and pasting it, something that seems so minuscule. You lose an entire work week. And now take that over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's crazy, the amount of time we waste. So repetitive tasks are the first things. It's the easiest things where we can see, can we automate this and how can we automate this? So that's an important place to start if you want to automate anything. The other thing that you can also look at is very time-consuming tasks. So in our case, for example, when you lovely people purchase a ticket from us, it's a massive thing. When people sign up for Propulsion Pro, it was a massive thing. Why? Because, one, it's easy. You give us all your information. But then we had to take that information, get it into our accounting system, issue you an invoice, make sure that you paid us. Then we need to make sure that you go into the database. We must make sure that you get a link to join the platform. We must make sure that you are added to our communications. We must make sure that we put you onto Propulsion Learn so that you have access to all the CPD. Now, every time somebody signed on, I was extremely excited, but it was also such a daunting task to get this done. And the problem was that it often took me quite a few days to get that done because there's also other things that I had to do. All of that is now automated. I don't touch a thing. So it'll go through, it'll put you onto our accounting package. It will create the initial invoice, receive the payment. It will create a recurring invoice and go put you on all the systems that you need to be on and send you one email that includes your invoice, your first invoice, as well as that. We don't do anything anymore. Nothing. It's all automated. But it took us a while to get there. But I'm telling you, it's worth every single cent I've spent on it. More, 110 times over, if not more. So time-consuming tasks are definitely something to look at as well. And then, you need to look for solutions for what can do what it is that you want to do. But the first port of call is always, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What does success look like? How does your life look after you've done this? What does it look like now, and how do you want it to look? And can we do that? So that's where that comes in. It's so important. Right. So another important part when it comes to this and technology is training. Too often, I see financial planners, financial advisors, FSP owners, call you what you want, franchise principals, decide on a system, it gets implemented, and then they themselves don't use it, number one, and they themselves don't do training, and they themselves don't play with the system. And then you wonder why none of the people in your business is adopting this. Now there's something wrong with the system. No, you made a decision to take that system for a reason. The problem is that nobody's getting trained on an ongoing basis. The problem is that this isn't being driven from the top down to ensure that everybody uses the same system, that everybody has a full understanding. Why? Because it's hard. Change management is hard. It's hard to get people to change. And there is a way to do it, and there is a process to do it. But something that you need to take into account, you're not just going to drop a system and then say, guys, this is absolutely amazing. You all saw it. You all said, yes, let's do it. And now you're on your own. Ongoing training, because there's so much to learn about these different technologies, is absolutely critical. And do you have a plan for that? No, you're more worried about CPD probably and getting that, instead of worrying about somebody being able to use the system like effectively, efficiently, and to its fullest capability. The first question we ask is, but can I get CPD if I attend the training? No, that shouldn't even matter, because CPD does not make you money. There's enough free CPD out there, more than enough. So you need to change that mindset away from that and say, how do I get to use my technology to its fullest capability and its fullest ability, and then see what that does to your business? I promise you, I might upset you now. Maybe you've left, I don't know. But one day, some of you will thank me for that. I promise you this. The best thing I've ever done is play with technology. It makes so much possible if I know what it can do. And you can say that, but that's not my core thing. I'm a financial advisor. But it's your business. It's your practice. You have to know. You must at least have a very keen sense of what is possible, so that you then can get the right people to help you to implement it. You shouldn't be the one building and implementing this stuff, but it sure as hell is your responsibility to know what is possible. All right. Lastly, the role of social media in building a freedom-based financial planning business. This is also part of a technology strategy, simply because we deploy it using the internet, using social media sites, etc. Now, yesterday, with speaker and influencer, Dan Graham presented an amazing 50 minutes of building influence with online media. It was absolutely mind-blowing in that session, the things that he was saying and how to look at it and how to approach it and all of it. So I'm not going to touch on those things, but I'm just telling you that, and this isn't the only place to do it. It's not to say that your traditional way is dead, that your traditional way doesn't work. It's definitely less effective than what it was previously. But it is very important that you use social media to connect with not only new clients, but particularly your existing clients. Haven't you? You should have had this before, where You speak to a client, 3 months later, you speak to them again, and there happens so much in between that you don't know of. And you think like, whoa, how did all of that happen in 3 months? But if you connect it to and follow them on social media, it's the easiest way today to stay up to date with what your clients are up to and what's happening in their lives, because they do blast it all over social media. So that is a big reason. But not only that, I think the biggest reason for social media is not to find clients. It's not okay. It's not to go find leads. Some people do it, and they do it very, very successfully with elation and all of that. But it's to build brand awareness. My opinion, I've always said to people, social media is about awareness. It's about building a relationship for people to get to know you and get to a point where they feel that they actually know you. There's a concept in oversubscribed that Daniel Priestley talks about, 7-11-4. And go look that up. I'm not going to share what that is, but it's a really important concept. It's about how many times you interact with them. It's 3 different things that you do. So they say, well, let me share. It's 7 hours, right, of engagement. It's 11 times that they've sort of interacted with you somewhere. And the 4, I can't remember now what that is. I think it's in 4 different places. So once you've done that, people feel they know you. That's how great relationships start. And the question is, if somebody starts getting into, oh, I need to look at my finances, can they find content that they can binge from you? Can they find and see you in 4 different locations? Can they have had sort of 11 different interactions with you? If that answer is no, then you probably should be considering this at the very least, whether you can implement this as part of your strategy. And then, of course, to increase your reach, that's where it helps. But for me, it goes on to the brand awareness. So brand awareness is sort of what you stand for, your values, sort of what you do, all that good stuff, how you view the world, your philosophy, all of those good things builds a brand. And then, you want to increase your reach as well for more and more people to know this. And the fact with social media is that you can reach a lot of people that you can't traditionally reach from your office if you just use the normal way of doing things. So I spoke about the benefits of technology, right? So we got into the whole preaching thing. I'm sorry about that. I'm not so sorry. We looked at, how do you decide on the right tools and sort of a thing to go through, things that you can automate, a strategy. How can you automate? Where can you automate? And then also the importance of social media. Righty, so hashtag coffee me up, because right after this, I'm going to do the lucky draw. Alrighty, so let's get it on. So how many people have we got? 15 entries so far. I always forget to say this, that you can only win once in 6 months. So if it happens that you win a second time within 6 months from winning the last time, unfortunately, we'll draw again. And hopefully that makes sense to everyone. After this, I send you a personalized message and a link where you can fill in your details. And before you know it, Colombo Coffee will deliver your coffee to your doorstep just the way you like it. So it's absolutely amazing. Right. So with that, if you still want to get it in, hashtag coffee me up. You can still quickly post that before I do the draw. I see there's loads of comments, and I will go through them afterwards. And I'm sorry if I don't have time to respond to this, but thank you very, very much for all the comments. I don't know yet what they are, but I will go through them. So thank you so much. Deeply appreciate that. If you got value, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're getting value, please subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. It does give us an indication that the content is valuable, and then it'll help us grow into the future as well. So thank you very much. Let's do the draw, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are ready, there's 17 people in, and here we go. Let's see. Look at that in the house. Hiren. I think I'm going to call Hiren right here into the room. If I can just find my mouse to move on over to back to my screen. Hiren, come and join me in the studio. That is, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the UK. Can you?
Hello.
How's it, my friend?
How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you.
Come and say hi to the people. You can just say hi.
Hi, people.
Yeah. Guys, so this is Hiren. He's one of the Next Gen Planner members, but also a phenomenal human being all the way from the UK. I'm going to go join him for coffee. Thanks for joining us. See you back next week, same time, same place. Love you. Raise that pop. Cheers.